This is video number 1 for childhood obesity for my Nutrition 300 classes. I've downloaded. No, I already have the file in my Los Rios Google Drive, but you're going to download the file. You will open it up. I have to keep doing this. Students are still asking. There are the lecture notes on the bottom. If you can't see them, remember, view speaker notes. So childhood obesity, a very interesting lecture in that we don't have a lot of answers for this. It is a growing problem in our country. And like for most folks struggling with weight, kids struggle with weight, and we don't have a lot of answers for adults, and we don't have a lot of answers for kids. If you look at the weight of kids over the last 30-something years, I know this isn't that new. This is probably like 10 years old, this data. If it says 2008, this probably came out in 2010, 2011. Kids are gaining weight, right? And this should be of no surprise that adolescents and teenagers are gaining weight. The one that is the most surprising to me as a parent is the fact that little kids are gaining weight. You can't make little kids overeat. They eat when they want to. Sometimes they don't. And I think this is a testament to little kids being potentially less active. That's one of them. Or the types of foods we're giving little kids. It's like a mantra that I keep getting at, but the exposure to liquid and sugary foods, for those of us who are over 50, it started when I was a little kid, and it just crept all the way down to now infants and toddlers. It's probably the food they're eating, not so much the lack of activity. 3-year-olds aren't playing soccer anyways. Okay, maybe in California they are, but it's not so much an activity. We know for the older kids it's inactivity and they eat crappy. But in the little kids, it's mostly diet. What are the causes? Is it genetics? Absolutely. We know that weight runs in families. The most likely cause in America is excess kcals coming in, liquid kcals, and inadequate exercise. Kids are just inactive. Forget about not being on sports teams. They're just inactive. I know what my kids are like when they're not playing sports. They don't leave their rooms. In the olden days, I know we like saying in the olden days, when you weren't playing sports, you didn't have the social media distraction in video games, although we did have crude video games. And so you had to do stuff. And I think just doing stuff burns up a lot of calories. Just hanging out with friends and screwing around in the garage was a thing that we did, and kids don't do those things today. There's a lot of overweight adults, and we are teaching kids to become overweight adults, right? It's learned behavior. Fast food, lack of cooking, lack of food prep, lack of food planning. Kids are heavier than they've ever been before, so that means kids are starting out with a little bit of another hurdle to overcome. Excuse me. Not just soda, it's the proliferation of the boba and the sugary drinks into the lives of little kids because they're learning it from their parents when they go to Starbucks. That's been going on for 30 years. Portion size has been going on for 30, 40 years. It's just a multitude of things in our lives, food and lack of activity, that all just chip away at our ability to maintain our weight from little kid to adult. We've seen this map before. It's the diabetes map. It's the adult obesity map. It's the heart disease map. This is probably the cancer map. Folks, again, it's the income map, right? We don't call childhood obesity an equal opportunity disease. It is not. Kids who fall within the lower socioeconomic strata of income for their parents are the most likely to suffer with obesity, and their parents have the least financial means to deal with it, right? These kids don't go to weight loss camps. They don't do all that stuff because the parents are working and they can't afford to do that, right? It's the reality of the real world. Yeah, this map is just, you're going to hate my maps. You're going to be sad about America when you're done with my class. So this says TV, this means social media, this means gaming, this means the phone. The more hours you're on the phone, the more likely you're overweight. This is like gravity and equals MC squared. These are now laws of the universe. Okay. In teenagers, we know it's lack of participation. We know that, especially in kids who are considered adolescents and 18-year-olds. And kids are probably gaming, and they're on their phones, and they're watching TV, and they're binging on whatever TV show it is on Netflix and blah, blah, blah. And they're task snacking. They're eating while they're doing. Well, we know that's bad. And kids have less activity when they're not playing sports. And by the way, kids generally don't walk to school much anymore. They don't take a bike much anymore. They're driven to school. I can't get my two teenagers to go to school in the same car that my son is driving because one wants to be there earlier than the other. What a waste of resources. Now, I happen to be going in that direction. It works out, but what a tremendous waste of resources and a blight on the environment when individual kids are burning up gas to get to school. Those would be my kids. We'll end on this slide. Health effects. It's not that teenagers have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. What they have is higher cholesterol, higher blood pressure, higher blood sugar. And that means they're already on that pathway to develop high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, right? They don't have diabetes. Some of them are developing prediabetes. They don't have bad knees, but they're putting a lot more pressure on their knees. Some kids have sleep apnea. Being overweight is still a stigma in the American, maybe every high school on earth. Kids are mean. We all know it. Hopefully we weren't some of those mean kids. I know I wasn't. But I had friends who were, and it's hard to say. It's you think back thinking, why were they my friends? And so being overweight is such a stigma. It ruins your self-esteem. Then kids, there's ways to cope with this. It may be through food, right? So it makes the problem even worse. And we actually know that overweight kids start hitting puberty quicker. So they're bigger than all the little kids in 5th grade, but then that growth curve peters out in high school. So they're not necessarily the biggest kids in high school. They hit the growth spurt earlier, but they end up being generally shorter and more stocky adults. It's very interesting, this idea of a mix match of growth when you should be in puberty, but growth that's coming early because of the excess weight. Very, very interesting psychological effect going on. So that ends video 1.